We're here in France in a rather beautiful Maserati Quattroporte GTS, visiting some of France's more iconic race circuits. These are venues that were really once the cradle of European motorsport, but today they're a little bit off the beaten track, so we're here to visit them and have a little bit of fun in this rather fabulous car. The other reason I'm taking so long to talk to you right now is because I'm trying to avoid having to pay for fuel as Daryl fills that rather thirsty 80-litre tank. Mate, can you get me an ice cream from the shop? Luckily for us, early motor racing was held largely on public roads, and if you know where to look, there's still some fun to be had. First stop, a volcano.
So here we are at the Charade circuit in the Auvergne Mountains in central France, a circuit which is actually carved into the side of an extinct volcano.
It's pretty spectacular. All that's left today for modern racing is this short and very interesting track here, but the history of this place lies in the mountain behind us where they used to run Formula One back in the day.
Contrary to common belief, it's mostly geology that makes motor racing interesting. The Nürburgring, the Isle of Man, Spa, all places with big changes in elevation. Places where it's said that God sculpted the scenery, but the devil laid down the tarmac. Well, the mountainside that this circuit is built into, the French call a puy, which is a dome-shaped mountain, which you can see dotted around the landscape here, and it's caused by the viscous extrusion of molten lava. Erupted about 6,000 years ago, and it's a fantastic sort of geography that the track designers had to play with. Amazing amounts of elevation and changes and turns. I think there's 48 turns, and the longest straight is only about 650 meters long. So whilst it's a fantastic thing to go and watch, the drivers absolutely hated it. And in 1969, Jochen Rindt came in and said it was the worst circuit he ever drove because he just couldn't get into a rhythm.
One of the strange peculiarities about this particular circuit is that some of the drivers, such as Jochen Rindt, would wear open-faced helmets. Now that's pretty dangerous stuff because you get debris and all sorts flying up off the track. But they did it because they suffered from motion sickness. It's endless curves, endless elevation change, big braking, and it made them spew. This isn't particularly glamorous stuff, I know, but that's what happened. It's often called the French Nürburgring, but with walls much closer and lumps of volcanic rock strewn everywhere, it's much more dangerous. In fact, it was really unpopular with the drivers, perhaps one of the reasons that top flight racing here ended in '72 when Helmut Marko lost an eyeball. As a child of the 70s, I grew up watching perhaps the fastest, most dangerous era of motorsport. Yet these racers would do anything to prove themselves against their peers. There's no logic in racing here, nothing tangible to be won. It's a kind of madness, and I'm hooked on it. The heroes back then seemed somehow bigger, more colourful.
It's impossible to cover every heroic scrap that happened here, but perhaps my favourite is the very last Formula One race. Jackie Stewart won the race, but it was the performance of the Kiwi, Chris Amon, that stood out. He qualified on pole, but suffered a puncture from one of the many lumps of rock littering the place. In fact, 10 drivers suffered punctures. Amon fought back from last to third in his Matra. It seems that Matra are yet another forgotten example of France's influence in Formula One.
They only got into F1 in 1968 and they won the championship in '69, so they came from nowhere to win it within 12 months, and you just don't see that kind of innovation and underdog in F1 today. I think the only recent example
you're thinking of Brawn, but they sort of like inherited a team, didn't they?
Second-hand Honda, absolutely.
So you're in the hot seat for this circuit. How do you rate the car?
The car's absolutely fantastic. Now it's important to point out as I'm winging it round these tight hairpins that this is not a sports car. This is a 1900 kilo executive luxury car. We can mess around with the dampers, we can switch it into sport mode. Now I've got a bit of a theory that sport mode in many cars is what I call a placebo button. You press it, looks good. Truth is, it doesn't really do a great deal, certainly not for the ordinary driver. In this, you can feel it's a little bit tighter and a little bit firmer, and this car needs to be. It's a big car and we're on a very tight, super twisty, hilly section, so it all works very, very well together. Now I can ramble on about the Ferrari Source twin turbo 3.8 litre V8. You can look up all the stats on the net. What you can't get is this fantastic feeling as you flow from corner to corner. But I'm rambling on. You want a review? I'll give you a short review. I'll give you a review in 8 words. It's Fangio in the front, Berlusconi in the back.
I like that.
Well, as we steam down into yet another very tight apex with not quite enough runoff for my liking, you can't quite make it out on the camera, but down here is a little slip road. Now those in the know will tell you that this joins on to the public road, which forms the greatest part of the original loop that was the F1 circuit.
The Charade circuit is the most exciting track I have ever driven. It's how Racetrack should be, built not to satisfy some third world government or Bernie's pockets, but in harmony with nature's roughest edges.
It really is criminal that this place just isn't better known about and more used, really.
It is a forgotten racetrack, but of course you can still visit here, get on the net, check out Charade circuit. There are occasional track days and events here, and check it out. You don't need something as hot as our Maserati to enjoy it. Don't forget also that the surrounding roads here is the exact same circuit that was used in '72 in Formula 1. Same turns, same corners, same inclines, and it is great fun. It is a fantastic place to visit. Vive la France.